Welcome to this GloBUNTU Books Conversation. It's all about books, African books. And I'm very excited today that we have our author, Dr. Marcelin Dabo. He will tell us about himself. I'm just going to say he has written a couple of books and he's very diversified. And I will invite you to kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Madam Beatrice Anqueta. I am very happy to join this interview with you. And then I am Dr. Marcelin Dabo, an African from the city of Ziguinchor in West Africa, in my very big country that is Africa, and in the small part of Senegal. So I insist I am an African from Senegal. And then, I have done my PhD in 2010 in control systems, that is non-linear control systems, and have published different papers and also this book for the control of non-linear systems. These were following my PhD. And then I am also an artist. I do pyrography, I do some paintings, and I am a conferencer. I present also workshops with the technology Arduino to control some direct current motors and making some LEDs to blink, and other applications that are so many. And we work also on control systems. We work also with a team of engineers in geolocalization, in solar energy, in telecommunication, in informatics. Sorry for the English sometimes. Yeah, we do some development of applications in our team. And then today I am here to talk to you about my book that is Adinkra. So Adinkra means a message delivered to somebody who is living. Somebody who is living in the road of the ancestors. Because if somebody is leaving the earth, he is leaving the earth to go to the road of the ancestors. And during that old days among Akam people, so I greet all Akam people, and I say my apologies first, because maybe I will be wrong in the pronunciation of the Twi words that I will be obliged to pronounce, because I am not Twi and I don't speak Twi for. For this introduction, I can present you very quickly the 3 books that I have published on Adinkra. So, and I will go deeply in details and following also the questions of Madame Anqueta. So this is the first one that I have published with Dagan Edition, Mon livre de coloriage Adinkra. It is only in French. It is a coloring book, and you can start from 4 years old, and you can find it on websites to buy. And it has been written with Mrs. Jeki Eso from Cameroon.
Okay.
She is a singer. This is a second that is based on research, and I talk for my friends on South Africa. I talk about Ubuntu.
Okay.
Yeah, I talk about Ubuntu in the beginning of this book, because a man is a man through other people. And then it is from these words that I introduce, from this book that I introduce a new word that is sapientogram. We will come back to these details.
Okay.
And the last one is Adinkra, or the sapientograms, by Dr. Marcelin Dabo. This book is written in 4 languages. It is written in Wolof, in French, in Twi, and English.
Wow, that's that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You are an expert in the Adinkra symbol. How did you go
Yes.
about that? Where did the passion come from, and how did you get to doing research and writing 3 books on Adinkra when some of us don't even know what Adinkra is?
Adinkra is a message. So when I get in France, because after living 24 years in West Africa, in Senegal, so I left and I arrived in France. From there, I was looking for African culture. What does it mean? Because when you go far, you start again your connection with your own people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then one day a guy came inside my office and said to me, there are African writing systems. I say, what do you say? He says, yes, there are African writing systems. And during my PhD days, it was around 2008. So I was looking for the African writing systems. And I start typing on Google in French and nothing happens. So one day I just say to myself, look, let me write in English and check what is going to happen. And that was a surprise from that day. Because at that days I knew the Medu Nature. Medu Nature is what the Greeks call hieroglyphics.
Mm-hmm.
And Medu Nature is the words of God, because Neter is God and Medu is the talks, les paroles.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that Medu Nature, but not the other African writing systems. And then I asked to myself how I can share my African culture with different people to let them know about what is our culture. And then I saw different African writing systems, like the writing system of Edo people in West Africa, in the city of Benin, Togo. I could also see there is a writing system from Congo, Mandombe writing system.
How interesting.
In Ethiopia, you have Gaze
Mm-hmm.
and Amharic.
Mm-hmm.
In Liberia, you have Vai.
Oh, wow.
In Meroitic, in Sudan, you have Meroitic, you have Edo, and Edo is a writing system with different colors, how you can see here inside the book. So if you vary the colors, what you pronounce will vary. That is Edo system. So, and then if for those people who does mathematics, you can see that we can make different applications of this kind of thing. And then, so there are so many different writing systems that I put on a map in this, where you can see the different writing systems. Sorry for those people who can't read French. And this is presented in French, yes.
This is very interesting because, you know, we all grow up thinking that the only writing system that exists is the alphabet. And,
no.
to know that in our African culture, we do have different writing systems that have been there over centuries and that have been neglected. And knowing that they're in one book, I think it's a book that every family should have. It should be in every library. It should be in every school. It should be in every company. You know, it should be in every home. So again, tell me, how did you go about discovering this writing and eventually putting them in a book form?
So when I started doing this investigation, I find that because I had to go through, I had the choice, or go through the hieroglyphics or Medu Nature. So for the next part of the interview, I will just talk about Medu Nature, and then or Adinkra. So I had the choice, but as I love to do things in a very good way and right way, I didn't have the opportunity to learn about reading very well and deeply Medu Nature. That's why for the first time I chose the Adinkra, the way of Adinkra, and to share, because Adinkra is simple. There are symbols, and those symbols are related. Every symbol is related to a wisdom. If I take, for example, this product, that is a bookmark. This bookmark is saying about Denkiem or Denkiem. And Odenkiem is a crocodile. And so the wisdom related to Odenkiem is The crocodile lives in water but breathes air outside. And this is called adaptability and flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you go somewhere, if you are driving inside the roads of Mzanzi, meaning South Africa,
Yeah.
or okay. So if you are driving in Mzanzi, if you get in Tswane, and then you get in the road or inside the Tswane, you can see on the road, for example, a stop. If you see a stop, nobody will be there to explain you at the stop, you should stop and you don't and wait as the cars go before you go again. So this kind of symbols are the same. If you are running throughout life, whatever you can be doing, if you see this symbol, you will understand that you have to be in a context of adaptability and flexibility, not by imposing your ideas, but by listening also to other people. That's why I choose Adinkra, because Adinkra is related to wisdom, and I love wisdom, and I like wisdom. So it's important for our people to see that for the writing systems, as Beatrice was saying, in the world, there are 4 kinds of writing systems, 4. Mm-hmm. The first one is the alphabetic one, because what we are using with A, B, C, D, etc. And if you say alphabet, it's just the beginning of the letters. Alpha is A, beta is bet, etc. So they say alphabet. And then from there, you have another one that is syllabic, because each symbol is associated to a syllab. If you have to write ba in the alphabetical, you write B and A and you put them together, you say ba. Mm-hmm. In the syllabic, when you write ba, you will write just one symbol to express ba. If you go through, that is syllabic, if you go for the 2 last, you have ideographic, meaning that a graph or a symbol will represent an idea. For example, if you have to represent a house, you will just design a house, you will not write H-R-O-U-S-E for English. And also in Wolof, you will not write K-E-double-point-R, because Ker that is in Wolof for house. And then for the pictographic, the picture, the symbol will represent a picture. That is pictographic. So you have alphabetic, you have syllabic, you have ideographic, and then you have pictographic. But these symbols I showed you, every symbol, each symbol is related to a wisdom. Sankofa, that is the bird that is looking on the back, is saying, return and get it. Meaning that if you are walking straight on your life, and then you see that you don't know the history of your ancestors, or you don't know African inventors, you can go back and learn about great African inventors, like mathematicians, like those women, Patricia Bath, like Mr. Lattice Latimer, etc. That is for America. And then you can learn also about Africa, about the kingdom of Mali in West Africa.
That relates so much to me, because and I did, like many of us, many of my generation, we did European history and geography and literature at school. So I went to Europe when I was 24, and I thought like I knew everything about Europe, but while there I discovered that I knew nothing about Africa. So when I turned 46, I packed my 2 suitcases and I came back here, and all the books that I've written has been because of this hunger to say, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my history? What are my roots? And it has been an exciting journey. So you could say this was the Sankofa in place here, saying go back, get that history, collect it and write it. And I see the same thing with you with the symbols. You know, you left Senegal, go to France, and then when you realize that you don't know much, you go back to get it, and now you have that beautiful Adinkra book for us and for the children. I find it very interesting.
And what I want to add is I don't go back to Senegal. I go back, but to Ghana. So you see,
and me, I go
because
back to South Africa, not to Cameroon.
not to Cameroon. This is what is showing that Africa is one, and then we just we are talking like Africa, like the Africa. We are not talking as a Senegalese to a Cameroonian. No, no, no. We are talking as African people together. And then for the symbols, so I introduce, because every symbol is related to wisdom.
How many symbols are there in the Adinkra or writing system?
So Adinkra was born 200 years ago inside Ghana by the Akam people, and the symbols are around, they say, more than 500.
Wow.
Has been done, are known. And then the chiefs of Adinkra symbols are keeping it in Tonso village, in the city of Kumasi in Ghana. So I had last year the opportunity to get in Tonso village. And I was very happy to get.
I never knew that. I should have known. I must go back.
I had the opportunity to go in Tonso village. So there are around 500 symbols that is used by Akam people, and symbols are created and still ongoing.
That is interesting. So when you think that the alphabet has just 26 letters, and the Adinkra has over 500 symbols, you realize how rich that language is, and the possibilities that come with a language that has so many symbols compared to the 26 letters of the alphabet. In your opinion, in your knowledge of the Adinkra symbol now, why do you think that symbol did not become the main language of communication? What happened along the line? Given that today we see that in the social media communication, we are using a lot of symbols again. So question number one, why was it not used? Why is it not prominent? And two, do you think that we are progressing through a time when those symbols can become a popular means of communication?
Yes, Adinkra is known. When I started my research, I saw so many Adinkra symbols throughout the world. People are putting them on shirts, people are putting them on different products, and they are tattooing Adinkra symbols, and they are using it in so different places. For example, the embassy of Ghana in the USA, or other places in the world.
Why is it not as popular as the alphabet? But you say people are using it, and I see mostly people in the diaspora, especially African Americans, African Latin Americans, they are those who mostly use this traditional knowledge, this traditional wisdom. And so the second question is, do you see these symbols becoming more and more popular in the day-to-day communication, as you know, given that smileys have taken over communication? We use all these kinds of smileys and all these kinds of symbols and images in the communication today. Do you see Adinkra becoming one of those symbols?
First question, I think that it is popular around people inside the country or the village or those ancestors. Okay. There is something that is important. There is traditional school inside Africa. And also another school that I will not call modern school, but a school brought by the African occupants, illegal occupants of the continent. Meaning that if you take the school as we know today, in foreign language like French, in foreign language, African foreign language like English or other foreign languages, you can notice that the traditional Africa is not taught inside these kind of schools. If you want to use, for example, Adinkra, we use them every day, but without knowing the meaning. Because in many clothes that you have inside Africa, you have many symbols, Adinkra symbols on the clothes. This I wear today is from Kente, from Kenya. It is not Adinkra. But in another sense, you can see it like Adinkra, because there are meanings also on this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's
But
beautiful.
thank you, thank you. This is a style from West Africa, from Senegal.
Okay.
But what is important to see is that as Africans, we should learn our culture. We should study our culture. And this is why I publish books to share. And this is why I do also this kind of products like this one. It's a coloring, it's for coloring,
Mm-hmm.
with stickers that you have here.
Ah, that's beautiful.
And you can take stickers from here to put in this page.
Ah.
And it goes with a dictionary. And this dictionary will explain you everything that is inside the symbols.
Oh,
and when you are done, you can make your coloring books with Ndebele houses, with a pyramid, with a baobab tree, with different kind of things.
I need a copy of that book. I need to get hold of one quickly.
Okay, I will send it to you. We're gonna do it. So this is a package for only €3, and then you get it.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So you see that if we are going through this way, and also we are using this kind of products of balloons with Adinkra symbols and their meanings on their balloons, or these are my products. Mm-hmm. You can see that you will be able to learn, and Adinkra will be part of you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is it. But I believe that it is a pedagogy. It is a pedagogy. We should go through a pedagogy. And then I think that what we are doing is the right way. We are not taking time to discuss if we can teach or not teach Sheikh Anta Diop 50 years. We don't need that. I am not in that kind of philosophy. We are in the philosophy such that we know that what we are doing is good. So we don't wait for other people to come for validation.
And that's very correct. And that's the reason why I'm so keen about having that book, because I think this is something that we can already use to teach the children. So the children know we have these symbols. This is something African. I think the more we start teaching about this from the way we understand it, the more we go to the elderly people and get it, and the more we share some of those symbols, what some of us have taken time to research on, the more we share with the younger generation, but also with families, the faster the learning process. The coloring aspect of it is very good for the younger children. It keeps them occupied. And when they can color it, then they easily retain it. So I think I must say congratulations for such a great book. And the price is very affordable. It is very affordable. So I would say this is something that I would love to put out in all the networks that I have, and encourage parents to make sure that they have this book so they can learn with their children.
Thank you. And just a word on Ubuntu, because when I was in South Africa 10 years or 12 years ago, I went to go to Robben Island, and I see on the ground it is written Ubuntu, Umuntu, Ngumuntu, Ngaba.
Yeah.
But what I think about Ubuntu, when I read the translations that I put in my book in French, they said that a person who has Ubuntu is a person that is opened and available. Mm-hmm. It's a person, because this definition, I think that this definition is very important. It's a person that is opened and available. He puts the others in value and doesn't feel fear when those people are competent and efficient. But with this mentality, you can't earn a World Cup. You can build a great car. You can't build a very nice car that is running in Tshwane, in Ziguinchor, in Douala. You cannot build a boat that can float on the nice seas inside the country. If you don't have Ubuntu, you can't do that. You can't do that. So this is important. And I remind Ubuntu, the values of Ubuntu here in this book. I remind it, and I remind also, Sankova is here. We were talking about Sankofa. So you can see that children can do activities in this book. And they can color and they can answer to some questions. And this is Akokonanchia. Akokonanchia means that a hen, it is not because a hen is working on his babies that he will gonna kill them. This is related to education. It is related to discipline. It is related to mercy and tenderness. This is a symbol of security. What about our youth? What about our youth? Why the youth, African youth, is leaving Africa to run away?
And that's a very paradoxal thing, I would say, very paradoxal, because it's a conversation that I would love for us to have another time, to say, you know, the people who came to oppress you, the people who conquered your system, the people who enslaved your people, we have the feeling that we can be safe there. What a paradox is that? But again, let's not go there. Let's stay with the book. We will have that conversation another time.
I'm happy.
So what I love about your book, it's the fact that it combines two very powerful African philosophies. You have Ubuntu in there and you have Sankofa. I have worked for the past 10 years, I've been developing that Ubuntu concept into what I call GloBUNTU. So it's a self-management training concept. I taught it in Austria. So I'm keen when I see someone who has touched on it, but let's not divert the conversation. We can have our Ubuntu conversation another time. Let's stay with Sankofa. So the symbols come with a lot of wisdom, you said, and we have over 500 symbols and they're still being created. So which are the most prominent one? Which are the 5 most prominent Adinkra symbols, and what is the wisdom behind them?
I think that before I go for that question, please just let me come back to the second question. Is just to say that we can use this to promote, you know, you can use this to change our world. I think that people are doing it. Those people who are conscient, who have a very deep consciousness. For example, if you are going and entering a room, if you have to enter a room, when you enter a room, you see the symbol that is Jenyamye. Jenyamye is a symbol that is God is above everything. Jenyamye is
that is a very popular symbol. Yeah.
Okay, so if you see Jenyame, Jenyame is saying that this great panorama of creation dates back to time immemorial. No one lives who saw its beginning, and no one will live to see its end, except God.
It has a very deep spiritual dimension.
Exactly. So if you get somewhere, if you get in a place, and then you see this symbol at the entrance of the place, it will put you in such a structure mentally and spiritually that you can't do whatever you do. You can't do whatever you want to do because there is something that is greater than you. So this is a foundation. And for those people who think that when they get everywhere, they can do everything that they want. No, you can't do everything that you want. You can't. This, for example, is a symbol of independence.
Yes, I know that one as well.
Yes, this is a symbol of independence. So look the illustration here. These children are doing their car. They are building their own car. And comes 2 men, one and his friend, to try to buy their invention. But they still working with their own independence about what they are building. So independence comes with responsibility. So when you have to enter a house and you see this, it will be very important. This will make you change your mind, make your children grow in a correct way, and then to reach their own goals. This is what I wanted to point out about it.
I'm looking at these symbols and I'm saying, this is a very important learning process. I imagine a parent taking each night, you take one symbol, you tell the name, you read the wisdom, and you reflect on that with your children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is something so powerful that we can instill. Instead of reading Cinderella, instead of reading Peter Pan or whatever they're reading, they're getting familiar with the symbol and the name, and then the message behind it. You attach a little bit of how you grow up. How do you connect to it? You know, take them to your ancestors, take them to that place in Africa where the symbol comes from, and then tell them about the neighboring countries. You see how you can go from that one symbol to just ignite a proud sense of Africa in a child, just going from that
Exactly.
symbol. And I think in the children's room, instead of having all this, whether it's Pocahontas or it's Kate Kardashian or whatever, if we had those symbols in the children's room, you know, that could be something so powerful. I don't know what
Exactly.
you have children. What do you do? How does your children's room look like? How does your home look like?
I offer to my children my books, and then so what I do is I make them do the coloring, and then while they are doing coloring, I discuss with them about the values. And the children are born with a character, a way of seeing the world, and I emphasize to the positive character, and I strengthen the weak one. For example, if you see that a children is most of the time going to push his friends or brother or sister, what you do is you say to him that being kabi, it means don't do to the others what you don't want them to do to you. And then this is represented by two fish eating each other, okay, their tails, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see this is being kabi symbol. And then you have the elder man who is talking to the youth. Okay, this is being kabi. So this is how the application can be done in order to raise children. And when you are doing that, you can also teach them. If children have always the way to be proud and to be a bit strong and to do things of that kind of stuff, you have this one.
Yeah, I used that one in Austria. We used that one when I created a Black women's community in Austria. This is the logo that we used.
This is Duen Niemen. Duen Niemen is strength, humility, learning, and also wisdom. Why? Because the symbol, the wisdom related to this is that the strength of I think the horns of the animal. The strength of that animal is not in his horns, but it is on his heart. It is on his heart. The strength is not physical. Because the proof is that if you take a body and there is not life on that body cannot have strength. That body cannot have strength. Even if you take Mike Tyson or I don't know, Schwarzenegger, or I don't know, those great fighters of Senegal. If there is no life inside those bodies, there will not be strength inside those bodies. So the strength is inside the heart.
I get you, but I can take you to another example which may not be really, really relevant here. Look at the mosquito. The mosquito, it's so tiny, but it can disturb even the king or whoever you are. So it's not about the size, it's not about the power, it's not about the presence, but it's what you're capable of doing. And that what you're capable of doing comes from where, what you say, it comes from the inside. The abilities that you have and how you can use them.
Exactly. And I just want to emphasize that Mosquito is a good exercise for self-control.
In my Africa for Smart Kids book series, there's Mosquito Zangalo. So Mosquito Zangalo at the end of every chapter is always having questions for children, just to make sure you understand. So what was on your mind when you set out to do this, and how long did your research take until you had the book published?
Maybe 3 or 4 months. because I was roughly on this. I put so much energy. I was reading books, and before I go out, I wanted to be sure that all these things exist. And then it was a job that was very hard for me. And I wanted, as I was doing my PhD, so there is a methodology of reading papers, of reading books, of making simulations, etc. So I went through the same process, you see, to be sure that everything is okay and this is a serious job and I can't just publish for publishing. Mm-hmm. And then that is the first point. The second point that guided me is that I took so long to learn about African culture, etc. Why? Because there are so technical books and they are sometimes very heavy to read. For example, if you want to read a book on African philosophy, I don't say philosophies, I say philosophy. You will take too long, and keep on theory and girding out and seeing that reference, etc. No, I didn't want that way of seeing things. What I wanted is something simple to share with children. Because we have so many things to do as adults, and we sometimes don't have time to go back again and see what my mother has said under the baobab tree. No. I didn't want that. This is what things guided me, you see. And then, by the way, I just want to answer to the other question. 5 symbols, Adinkra symbols, that can be important and that are surrounded. I mean, everyone with his own Adinkra symbols. Because if you are a warrior and a courageous guy, you should learn to, with Dweni men, I propose. You should learn with Denkiem, and you should learn with Binkabi, and you should learn for sure with Djenyamie and Akomantoazo, meaning the union of the hearts. You should learn with other, like Fihankare, and other symbols, and you can choose themes that you want to deepen with Adinkra symbols, because with Adinkra symbols there are themes related to courage, related to God, related to defense, related to job of good quality, related to other stuffs. So you can go through and then you choose, and even if you want to make your own logo, you can choose also. You can choose also. But if you separate one Adinkra symbol from the others, you will be weak. In my point of view, you will be weak. Because in life, there are different parts of life to build. You can't build a house with just one wall. You can't. You need many walls to build a house. So seeing Adinkra symbols, it is like you are building a house. That is your person. You are emphasizing the house. That is what American people call personal development. That is it. So we have in Africa. So why you are running away to go to other? Take one symbol like Odenkiem and think about Odenkiem and meditate about Odenkiem and listen to the spirit of God to give you the good ideas about adaptability and flexibility, and add humility and add strength. I'm telling you, you will you will win.
The more I listen to you, the more questions I have. And we don't want to discuss all the book. We want people to buy this book. As I see, sometimes we see the Adinkra symbols, but we don't see the names. In your books, you have the names and you have the explanations. Is that correct?
It is correct.
How many pages is this book? I know you've written 3 books on Adinkra.
If I take this one, that is the last one.
Yeah.
That is written in 4 languages, and French, 2 European languages, and 2 African languages. The Twifo, that is the originated language for the Akan people. Wolof of West Africa, Senegal, Gambia, Mauritania, Mali, and then English and French. And then if you look at inside, what you can see is every pages you have the explanations in the 4 languages that I have talked about. And then if you go through, you have all the explanations, and I give also some examples.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it is presented. And at the end, I put a lexicon where you have different, you see, symbols and with their meanings and the reference to the pages.
I want that book too.
These books, how much does it cost? 12 euros.
Wow.
And I work on this project in collaboration with my two friends, Alex System, an engineer from Cameroon for solar energy and geolocalization, Africol Shop development of applications on telecommunications.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful. And I also see much more in that book. I see the fact that you can actually learn those 5 languages while you're
Exactly.
learning that book. You're not just learning about the symbols, but you're also learning languages.
Exactly.
And the pictures, it's a beautiful book. I want all the 3 books. You tell me how to get them. But I want that when I'm talking to anyone about those symbols, I should be putting the book on the table. And I'm very happy that we're going to include these books in our holiday master classes so children can really learn about these symbols. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. The more I look, the more I'm thinking like I should go back in all my books. Each one of them should have an Adinkra symbol name. They should have an Adinkra name.
This is a symbol of quality.
Yeah, I know that one, even though I didn't know the name.
And the engineer is doing his presentation.
Nice.
You see.
And I love the diversity of people that you have in the book.
Exactly. This is something that I don't talk about. I just want people to see and discover and understand. And the other message is that what you can say, even if it is a new word, what you can say in a language, you can say it in another language. It is not because you are talking about engineering that you are obliged to talk in foreign African languages. You are not obliged.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about engineering in the African languages. This is more than possible. It is more than possible. And every day I do that, every day.
I see so much in. We'll definitely be exploring a whole lot about the books and what we can do in different programs. But come again, where can someone get all the 3 books? Do you have an offering of all the 3 books as a package, or are the books bought individually? That's question number 1. Question number 2, which one do you want someone who is starting with Adinkra symbols to start with? Which is the one that you recommend? And yes, and where can we get the books? So those were 3 short questions in one.
So I recommend if you want to go deeply in the African writing systems, the different African writing systems and Adinkra's history is here, and the presentation of other writing systems are here.
Okay.
But this book is only in French.
Okay.
So sorry for that.
I hope there will be
I am working on
soon.
this project, yes, to make it international.
Okay.
And then today, if you want to learn also as an adult, and you can discover this by putting your children coloring, but also by yourself to have an introduction on Adinkra symbols. This is it. This is what I can say. And about the package, each book this one is 12 euros. And the previous one also, this one is 12 euros. Okay. And this you can see on the internet, because I have to make again the publication of this book. I have to work also again on this project. And in order to get it, where you can get it, you can visit my Facebook page that is simply written Adinkra, like this, Adinkra, Adinkra.
So if someone is in South Africa, or someone is in Jamaica, China, okay, or someone is in Japan, how can they get the books?
Last week I sent books in the US.
Okay.
So it's easy to get them. So
the order is placed directly to you, and then you ship the books?
I ship the books.
Okay, does the price of 12 euro include shipment, or is it exclusive shipment? Does it include tax? What is the price? Is that the final price that includes everything? Let us know that.
12 euros for one book. And if you want the shipment, you add the price of the shipment.
Okay.
But don't worry, as the postal office, there are specific prices to send books.
Okay, so we're saying if anyone wants this book, they can go to your Facebook page, or I'll put in the link here where they can contact you, where they can place their order. How long does it take for the book to go from France to the US?
It depends. It can take 1 week. It depends on the package of the heavy.
Okay.
It depends on the transaction, but I think that it will not be more than 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what I want to add, you can contact me also on my Adinkra email is adinkradabo@gmail.com.
Okay, we'll embed that in the video so
exactly
people can write the right spelling.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Dr. Dabo, my brother Marcelin, this has been a very, very insightful conversation for me as well. And I can tell you, I'm going to have those books, come what may. I want all the 3 of them to South Africa yesterday already.
Okay.
And once I have them, I think I'll come up with a lot of other ideas on how we can explore them. And so I just want to say thank you for this conversation. Thank you for that insight. Thank you for doing the research and bringing these writings to life. And if there's something else that you'd like to share with your listeners, just go ahead. I'm going to run and go pick the cable before this thing dies while you put in your your final message.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Beatrice. So I wanted to say that also I want your books, because I saw some of your books that you have written, and I appreciate. They are very nice. For example, Knowing Africa from A to Z, etc. I wanted also to talk to our brothers and sisters about Adinkra symbols and African writing systems in general in the film Black Panther. So if you visit my Facebook page, there is a video of 5 minutes where I present the African writing systems on inside the film Black Panther. You have many African writing systems inside. So again, thank you for this great opportunity. And I hope that we're gonna have as an opportunity to share and also to listen to other people. And I want also to listen one day to Beatrice about your books and about your job. Thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, so Beatrice, we have to work together. We have to do something together. You see,
there is a point of convergence. Yes.
There is a point of convergence.